Good afternoon and welcome to Rubbin Minds. My name is Isabella Adediji. President Bola Tinubu said, let the poor breathe. But with the increase in the price of petrol, twice in less than 2 months, the poor are asking a lot of questions. They are being suffocated by the increase in affording daily commodities. We've seen a weakened naira, where the naira to the dollar has gone up. We're also seeing planned increases in things like fees. We heard the announcement of Unity schools saying they're increasing their fees. Some universities have come out to increase their fees. And I bet that it's not only the poor that are suffocating, even the middle class will be struggling to catch a breath. To discuss some of these issues and these new realities under this new dispensation, I have with me a media personality in the person of Stephanie Mbachu. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
I also have a multimedia content creator from Zikoko Citizen, Blossom Sabo. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's go straight into it. Can you go maybe 2 months down the line and say, how much were you spending on petrol? And fast forward, how much are you now spending on petrol? And what impact has that had on your daily life? I'll start with you, Stephanie.
Hi. So I don't even drive, but I'm feeling it. Like you said, Tinubu said we should let the poor breathe. And I'm not even, you can tell from my voice that I don't think I'm breathing properly because I'm dying of everything. But how much did I spend 2 months ago? I would say, as at 2 months, I think it was 500 and something per liter. Now it's almost 700 and something. So it's crazy. And I don't even drive, but I'm feeling it because if they increase the fuel price, we're also going to feel it. You understand? If you're taking like public transportation, you're taking private cars, one way or the other,
even when you use these apps that ride-hailing services, the prices have gone up.
Yeah.
And then when we look at petrol, it's not just transportation. We're also looking at productivity of businesses that rely on generator sets to power their businesses. How has this fuel increase been for you, Blossom?
Okay, so personally, I am going to use a scenario that happened like 2 months ago. So fuel was around 187 naira. Then it got increased to like 488 naira. So I was supposed to go somewhere from Yaba to VI. And getting there, I spent close to 8,000 naira. And it was so outrageous for me. It got so bad that I had to take public transport back to the house. So it just shows how bad the state of things have become currently. Like you said, the poor can't breathe. You know, so many things are just stagnant. Cost of productivity is low. Productivity itself is low. So yeah, that's like basically it for me.
Okay, but we know why the president has announced the removal of subsidy, and there is even a planned, there's a planned, will I say, palliative of 8,000 naira to 12 million Nigerians, the poorest of the poor who are not breathing. Do you think this is enough, and do you think this is the kind of palliatives that will help the average Nigerian?
Should I? Do you want
You could go first.
Okay, so 8,000 naira. Unilag, how much are they paying now? So if he gives everybody 8,000 naira,
12 million Nigerians.
Of course. And
That's
they have
the poorest
three
of the poor
kids in federal schools. So those 3 kids will pay up to 600. It's 8,000 naira. How much did I use to come here today?
And you know, it's interesting because these figures we're hearing are figures of people who are living in Lagos, where the price of petrol is still considerably lower compared to the other parts. I mean, you have people paying as much as 600, 700 in other parts. And there is speculation that this price might increase because of the new dollar to naira conversion. What do you think about the 8,000 naira palliative, Blossom?
So personally, I don't feel that scheme is right. I don't feel it's right because, you know, 8,000 naira, I'm putting myself, family of, let's say we're like a family of 4, 8,000 naira per month. I don't even the minimum wage that is 30,000 naira is not even doing anything currently. So the 8,000 naira as a palliative scheme is not a for me.
It's interesting you should mention minimum wage, because a lot of people are saying, rather than focus on, say, these 12 million Nigerians, why don't we look at this holistically and talk about a review of the minimum wage? And when you were responding to my question, you talked about school fees. Now, that's just one item. We're looking at healthcare, we're looking at transportation, looking at food. I mean, we've seen inflation, rising inflation. So we've seen these effects of this increase in petroleum products. But right now, what can be done and what should be done in the short term? Like, what will be a good palliative for you?
Okay, so personally, I feel this money should go into, because the whole fuel subsidy thing threw everybody off balance. Yeah, I feel this 8K palliative thing should go into building refineries. Yeah, because the whole, how would I call it now? The whole 8K palliative, you know, they removed fuel subsidy without creating alternatives, and it just threw everybody off balance. So I feel, you know, using that money to build refineries, because
then
honestly,
it affects everybody, and then the cost of things can begin to reduce. Some people have started introducing work from home. Some people have cut the number of days, whether it's for school or for the office. Is that enough, Stephanie?
I wouldn't say it's enough, but it will be effective, you know, because when people don't go to work every day, they're not spending so much money. So it will be effective. I'm not even going to front. But it's not enough, because at the end of the day, one thing I always say, we need compassionate leaders, because if you're compassionate, you would not only think about yourself. For example, if I am privileged, if I have so much money, if I come from a wealthy background, I need to be compassionate enough to understand that not everybody is in my position. So if you think about people who cannot afford things, you'll be compassionate enough to reduce the prices of a lot of things. Like, I mean, we're literally complaining about the fuel subsidy, and now we're complaining about the amount people are paying in schools. There are a lot of poor people in Nigeria. I mean, I was at a friend's place last week. They cannot even afford 10K units of lights. It's really bad. And this woman has a child in UNN. So if she cannot even afford 10K for lights, how much is she now going to pay her child?
The school fees, the cost of transportation there, the living expenses. What do you think the minimum wage should be in light of all of this, if 8,000 is not enough as a supplement?
No,
Stephanie?
Okay, so I would want to trace back to the previous question. And, you know, she talked about, you know, HRs and management implementing work from home. But what of the informal workers? What of the construction workers? You know, people that have to, you know, they have to be on site.
The factory workers.
Yeah, the factory workers. You know, so these people, if the cost of movement is outrageous, who would build these houses? Who would fix these infrastructures and all? So I think, you know, the government should fix, you know, just fix like an alternative, honestly, because, like I said, moving from one place to another is becoming outrageous. Then the other question you talked about...
the minimum wage.
Minimum wage. Honestly speaking, so many things need to be reviewed. I really can't even give a specific amount on what the minimum wage should be currently. But if everything is reviewed, you know, from the different criteria where problems are coming up from, I think whatever price is being fixed at that point in time would be sufficient enough to go about.
Some have said as high as 200,000, but when you have figures like that, the question then becomes, how are employers going to make enough money to be able to increase fares? So doesn't that have a domino effect where they increase the price of goods and services to be able to pay this minimum wage, if it should be reviewed? True. Stephanie, I'd like you to comment on the minimum wage revision. Is that a conversation we should be having alongside palliatives, alongside all these economic reforms?
True. I think it's a conversation that we should be having. I don't think 200K is too much. For a family, if you have a family of 4 and 5, I don't think 200K is too much. I think with 200K, at least you're able to cover feeding, like the essentials, the most important thing, like you need water and, you know, sheltering and whatnot. So personally, I don't think it's expensive. But the other question, I don't think I caught the other one that you asked.
No, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You were the one who
You
responded
answered
first,
first,
and
yeah.
she wanted, there was the working from home and
Okay.
how it affects productivity and, of course, how affordable that is. Now, the president is yet to still release his ministerial list. Do you feel that in the coming weeks when we see that list, that might introduce or encourage or incentivize foreign direct investment, which might then help the Naira, and then we begin to see maybe some things coming down lower?
Okay, so personally for me, production is stunted in Nigeria. And I think that's what more foreign investors want to look at, like, oh, okay, if I invest this money, what's the, how will I put it down? What's
The returns on investment.
Yes, on it. And like I said, you know, him getting his ministers, and it might or might not, you know, affect the whole foreign investor thing. You know, I don't know how the whole thing is going, but personally, if the cost of production is not like, for the past 2 months now, so many things have been stunted, so many things have been reduced. You know, people are not even eager to want to move around because, you know, before you move, you're calculating so much, you're doing so much, and all. So
You go think.
yeah. So many things are like, you know, personally, the ministers, I don't know, and I don't think it would affect the whole foreign investor thing.
Stephanie, a lot of people will say that the darkest time of the night is just before the dawn. Do you feel that this time is going to usher in a time of light, a time of goodness, where things begin to brighten up? Or going by what the president has been doing in the past 2 months, are we expecting to see even harsher conditions?
Yes. My honest opinion, yes. Me as Stephanie, I don't think I really believe in this country. Only the people in the diaspora or the rich people really believe in the country. You will not go to Makoko, you will not go to Okoko Maiko and ask somebody that is suffering, do you see lights at the end of the tunnel? They will tell you, no, I don't see any lights at the end of the tunnel. So personally, I don't think, my own honest opinion, I don't think I'm looking forward to any lights at the end of any tunnel.
I mean, the argument and what has been said is that some of these monies from subsidizing fuel are being saved so that they can channel them into infrastructural development. But the thing is, how long will Nigerians have to wait before they begin to see the gains of these savings?
Yeah.
And during this time, what can the government, or what should the government be doing to address these needs right now, while we're waiting for the infrastructure, while we're waiting for the Naira to bounce back, while we're waiting for the local refineries to start local production? What should be done now to affect not just the poor, the middle class, and I dare say the rich are also struggling to breathe?
Okay. So as a multimedia journalist for the Cocoa Citizen, we produce a show called Everyday Citizen. And this show, you know, I go to the streets, see and document people's plight on certain situations. And it's really hard seeing the country from a promising ground. It's really hard seeing the country from a promising ground. You know, people just, so many things are happening. Like the standard of living is poor, you know, for a country that has variety of food. Food is a problem now. Food is considered luxury now. Yeah, so I don't think anything that has to be done now, yeah, is probably creating alternatives for these people. Alternatives like I said, the refinery for the fuel subsidy thing, you know, more agricultural construction, more employment rates too, you know, to help the whole growth, you know, to help even the middleman, the poor man, and because now I personally believe there is no middleman now.
Yeah, the middle class is eroding.
Yes.
It's being eroded because of the high cost of living. Stephanie, what should the government be doing now? Should we be seeing maybe subsidizing of transportation? Should we be seeing subsidizing of food? Even while it takes some time for the infrastructure to be developed, in the short term, what can the president do and state governments do to cushion the effects of some of these hard realities?
Okay, I think the government should put subsidy on food and transportation. It's very important because, you know, we have people who go to work, at least let them feel comfortable to an extent. The Lagos states, we have BRT. You know, if you're going to slash prices, try. Like, just help people. Let them know that, okay, at least you care about me. The food that I'm eating, if I go to the market now, I know, okay, I'm not paying so much. And then, like she said, employment is also very important. Like, in as much as you're helping subsidize transportation and food, you should actually create employment opportunities for we, the citizens. At the end of the day, like, we put you in power. We deserve to be human at least. This is, I don't think this is, we're not, are we,
we're not
right now,
asking,
are we human
we're
beings?
not asking for anything outrageous.
I mean, President Bola Tinubu came up with the slogan of renewed hope, and there's a lot of anticipation in the air that things will change for the better. Have you at any point started missing the previous administration or life during the previous administration, Blossom?
Okay, so this is a very funny question because our last episode on everyday citizen, this was the question we asked everyday Nigerians that, oh, okay, so do you miss the previous administration? Personally, I don't miss the previous administration because it's almost like, okay, citizens have new hope whenever like a new administration is coming in, and for every time, their hope is being dashed like against the wall consistently and continuously. So I don't miss any administration. I just feel like, okay, they should do what's right, yeah, for everybody to like be able to benefit from it.
Okay. What about you, Stephanie? Do you miss the previous administration?
No way, I don't. I also want to point out something. I think Nigerians, all of us as a whole, minus Misha, we tend to, you know, when you are like a punching bag.
Yes.
Somebody keeps punching. You say, I did chest them.
So we're very resilient.
Yes. Because
we go better. Somehow we go manage.
We go manage. There's not, if you go to France is a good example. Any small thing, they're outside.
Protesting.
They mount the barricades.
They are outside. I'm not saying that we should be violent, but we should learn to say, please, it's enough. Like, I can't, because people on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram, everybody will complain, oh my God, how will I feed my family? How will I? Next week, we they manage.
So it's now time to hold the government accountable, to ask the hard questions and to demand for good governance. I think the final question I'll ask is on the cost of governance. What should we be seeing? What should the government be doing to save on the cost of governance? And any one of you can take that.
And the cost of governance. Can you rephrase that question?
Yeah, like there's so much money that goes into running this country. Do you feel that we should reduce the cost of governance?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Because, okay, recently I like they said, it's fake news. But I got to see like government increasing politicians' salary.
There was a planned increase. So those are not the kind of conversations we should be having now. Okay. If we're not increasing minimum wage, definitely we shouldn't be thinking about increasing the remuneration of public office
Like
holders.
what have they done?
Yeah.
To defending so much.
That's all we can take. Thank you very much, Stephanie Mbachu, and thank you very much, Blossom Sabo, for your contributions on Rubbin Minds. We'll be going on a quick break now. Do join us again. Welcome back to Rubbin Minds. Happy National Broadcast Day. Our next segment will look at the power of the broadcast industry in holding the government accountable and the evolution of the broadcast industry in Nigeria. Joining me from our channel's Abuja studio is a broadcast journalist, Oche Otene. Oche, welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon indeed. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. So let's look at the evolution or the development of the broadcast industry in Nigeria. How would you say Nigeria has fared compared to her counterparts?
Well, broadcasting is indeed ever-growing and developing in Nigeria. And I think with new stations, new platforms springing up each and every time, I think we're headed towards the right direction, I must say.
Okay. Some would say that when we had radio, then came TV. People were afraid that radio will become extinct. And then we have TV, and now we have the internet, the digital media, and with some of the advancements in AR, artificial reality, virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, do you feel that the broadcast industry is in danger of being made extinct or maybe not being as powerful due to these new technologies?
Well, I do not think so. Reason is around the 1880s, we saw the evolution of the print came to be. And then when it came, it was like, that was everything. And then around the 1940s, we had radio. Radio came, and then it seemed like actually the print was going to run into extinction, but that did not happen. And then in the 90s, the TV came to be. And now we have even the new media, which is social media and all. So I think it's all encompassing. And basically, traditional media platforms are also trying to see how they can fuse up with the new media in such a way that everything is more like holistic. And you find out that it's really broad, and then you're passing the message to the audience or your listener, in quotes.
So do you ever get scared or worried that the robots are coming for your job? Do you ever feel that maybe it won't be a human this time that will be interviewing you, but a robot could be doing the work of a broadcaster?
I do not think so. If artificial intelligence is ever going to come to be in broadcasting, I think it's going to make it all better, just the way we have in other spheres as well. I think it's going to be more encompassing, and maybe the job of having a journalist going out for a reportage being attacked, that can indeed reduce all of this. I mean, having threats on journalists and all. You could have reporters who are robots, I mean, go on the streets to collect stories. That is, I just think it's going to be an addition to the world of media, to the world of broadcast, having artificial intelligence coming in.
Okay, so technology more as a tool to enhance the quality of journalism, broadcasting. So now let's look at the role of the broadcaster or the broadcasting industry in holding government accountable and ensuring good governance for the citizens. Do you feel that Nigeria's broadcast industry is doing enough to hold our leaders accountable?
Well, basically, broadcasting has three roles. One is to educate, another is to inform, and also to entertain. Now, most times when you report in the news, you're expected to be very objective and you're expected to be fair. So basically, broadcasters are meant to report the actions and inactions of the government and what is happening in the land. Take, for example, the earlier part of the show, you spoke about the hardship that a lot of persons are facing in recent times. And that's basically the role of broadcasting. You bring these stories forward and you question the actions and the inactions of government and governance, basically. The challenge I see in the world of broadcasting, basically, is where you have state house correspondents who basically, what they dish out is the viewpoint of the governor they are reporting. They don't really bring that objectiveness to their stories. They don't bring that fairness. It's more like a one-angle thing. And basically, when you report in a gist or a story, it should be like a coin. You talk about this side, and you also look at the other side of the coin. And you try to be very objective with your reportage. And I think with that, we can truly hold the government accountable. And as the news breaks, you break it indeed.
Okay, I would like to follow up on the point that you made. So you see a lot of state correspondents who are just more or less regurgitating press releases and maybe just doctoring the headline and just giving it verbatim. What should be done to address that? Do you feel this is something that needs to be tackled from the education the journalist or broadcaster receives before they get on the job? Or do you think these are things that need to be will I say, the code needs to address?
I think there is need for training and retraining of presenters, of broadcasters, and ensure that they are really ready for the role they are playing. With that, I think we can indeed fight that. Another reason I see is low pay. When it comes to the world of broadcasting, some journalists are paid peanuts. And so they just try to do everything possible to head on with life and also try to feed their family and those that they're responsible to take care of. So I think when the pay is huge, that can indeed tackle that. When a reporter is paid heavily or paid well, you see that maybe the peanuts that the state government will be giving him or her, he will not really be concerned with that. And you see objectivity coming in play with his reportage. You'll see that he will try to be very fair in what he speaks on in what he also gives out to the public. So one, there's need for training. Secondly, there's also need to look at the pay. Some broadcasters, reporters, on-air personalities take home.
I like those points that you've made, and it got me thinking about the rise of what we'll call brown envelope journalism. And this is not something that's just limited to, say, government. Even you'll find private sector players who would hand over a brown envelope or a white envelope or money for their news to be carried instead of maybe paying for advertisement. And that then gives maybe the TV station enough money to increase the remuneration of its staff. So what can be done to tackle that? How can the journalists say no to, say, the brown envelope while still waiting for their remuneration to increase?
I think that should be a thing with basically the management of a station. If the management of a station is indeed very strong and broad in ethics, I believe that can indeed stop. And also you train your presenters, you train your reporters on the need to bring the real gist to the table and shun brown envelopes. But in a place or in a stance where you see a presenter owed, not paid regularly, you see such an issue or such a situation will continue to just grow further. But when a reporter is being catered for and is catered well for, I mean, remunerations are paid in time, I believe that can indeed quench that ugly tide.
Okay. Now, when we look at the ever-changing media landscape, we understand that numbers play a huge role. People are looking at ratings, people are looking at views, people are looking at clicks. And as long as that happens, there is that temptation or that almost need to always break the news and go viral, which then allows for fake news. So how can you manage as a broadcaster the need to go viral and to really top the numbers and as well still stay true to the story?
Well, just like you said, a lot of reporters, broadcasters, they're pretty quick. They want to be the first to break a story, want to be the first to get that like, want to be the first to get those followers, because basically people enjoy when you are the first to break a story. People like it when they always get fresh stories from you. But the need to fact check whatever you report and the need to fact check whatever you're giving out, it's of utmost importance, because fake news is like wildfire, and if you don't curb it early enough, it's certainly going to cause plenty of destruction, and most times it can even be very fatal. That's why there's every need for journalists, media practitioners to indeed fact check whatever they're dishing out. And then for the people also getting this information, I also think it's important to verify the source of your story. You can't just go on social media and then get anything. And then with the evolution or the coming in of citizen journalism, where everyone now think, okay, they can just use their phone and tweet a story, tweet something, and just say something, and then you see everyone believe in it. But the challenge is, and the way out or the way forward is basically for people to verify the sources of their stories, ensure that it's from a verifiable source. It's not just someone who maybe had a dream last night and then goes on social media and begins to indeed release this information. And then earlier we spoke about trainings. It's important that you train your reporters so that they can be careful on the kind of reportages they bring forward.
Okay.
You don't just
Oche,
think about something and then you begin to say, okay, this is the reality.
So there's a lot to still be done. And I like how you say that the responsibility is both on the broadcaster, but also on the receiver and the consumer of such news. Thank you very much, Oche Otene, a broadcast journalist, for your contributions on Rubbin Minds. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our entertainment interview. I have with me a reality TV star, a TV presenter, beauty enthusiast, beauty maker in the person of Enada. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So tell me, which one sits on your head well these days? Are you more the actress? Are you more the reality TV stars, the presenter, or the woman making her money selling beauty products?
Definitely the woman making her money selling beauty products. Definitely that. An award-winning one at that as well. Yes.
And your skin is glowing. Like,
Thank you.
The melanin is definitely popping. Okay. Now, I'm just looking at you, and I can begin to do a bit of calculations on, what amount of money has she spent on her products to look like this? Her hair, the outfit. You know, it seems like a lot these days that a lot of stars, or I would say people going to these reality TV shows, they come out and there's that pressure to live a life where they're looking like money. How have you dealt with that pressure?
Well, I think for me, my business has really helped me. And aside the fact that I have a business that pays my bills, I've also always been someone who loves to live according to the size of my pocket. So you never see me portraying a life that I can afford. So yeah, and I tend not to put myself in circles where I would feel that pressure to want to impress or, you know, portray a life that is not true to me. So that's basically how I've done it.
But we've seen some of your colleagues who are owing stylists going away with some of their outfits, or they're not paying for makeup, or they're getting free photography. Where do they draw the line between that fake life and real life?
Honestly, I can't speak for them, but for me, if I can't afford something, you would not see me trying to get with it or get involved with it. For every time you've seen me, styled by someone, especially my best designer and stylist so far, Tiana's Empire. People actually think she styles me free of charge, but it costs me millions. Every single time you see me tag her on my page and say styled by, Tiana's Empire, designed by Tiana, it costs me millions. So, and it also just goes down to me being able to afford these things because I have a business. As for my colleagues who have to, the other day I heard people actually borrow wigs. Because I had this new hair that I gave my hairstylist, and when he was styling this, he was talking about how there are celebrities who go, borrow wigs just to change their looks and just, I don't know, look good for the gram and stuff like that. And I was quite shocked because for everything I have, I buy with my money. So I can't speak for them. I don't know why they do things like that. But as far as I'm concerned, my money pays for everything you see.
So you're saying you pay Tiana styling?
Definitely, I pay her millions.
And if you say it's millions, I'm now trying to remember, say, in the past, say, 4, 6 months, you've probably stepped out in maybe 2, 3, 4 outfits. I mean, the AMVCAs, some movie premieres. So are you saying you spent like 10, 15 million just on...
Okay. I wouldn't put a figure to it because if I do that, Nigerians will come for me. But first of all, Tiana would give me a huge discount. But at the end of the day, what I'm spending costs millions. And this is not even photography or makeup. And, sometimes the kind of makeup I do for the looks that I, put out there is quite different from the regular 50, 60K makeup, right? So it costs me millions. And you can get Tiana to show you the receipts, right? So, yeah, that's it.
Wow, I didn't know it was that expensive. But now let's look at your looks. I mean, I've seen some of your looks, and some would describe it as edgy, pushing the envelope, out of this world. I mean, sometimes you show up with animals. I mean, there are quite a lot of looks that end up breaking the internet. When you decide on such looks, maybe with Tiana, is the focus to break the internet? Is the focus to show a side of you that we don't know? What is the thinking behind those looks?
Okay, first of all, I'm always passing a message with whatever it is that I'm wearing. For instance, today is my birthday.
Happy birthday, Enada.
Thank you so much. And I posted something on my page that has gotten thousands of comments, most of them insults. We'll probably get to that later, and I'll explain my outfit for my birthday. But when it comes to me stepping out for event, there's always a message. If I'm not dressing to suit the theme of the event, for instance, the one you talked about where I had like pigeons and I had like hummingbirds, the theme of the event was Ojuju Ball. And I had to get there looking like an Ojuju. And I wanted to be like really different from what I felt every other person was going to, get there looking like. And that was basically what I did. I always want to pass the message across, dress for the event, and also try as much as possible to scatter the internet, because when I do that, aside the fact that some of my looks has actually gotten me on international media, like in 2020, that was the year of COVID, I was featured on CNN, Al Jazeera, BBC. Even the Washington Post called me for an interview because of, my ensemble to that event, all thanks to Tiana, who made that happen. Aside the fact that it helps to give me that kind of like international attention, it also helps me sell more skincare products and hair care products. I'm a businesswoman, so every time I'm spending millions, I'm already calculating the return on investment for that. So every time I go viral with my looks, I have so much traffic, and most of it converts to sales for me, because if you come on my page, you can see one post that's already pinned to my page, where I'm making my skincare products, and you can see, you can see that I'm professionally formulating my products. You go through my page, you see my hair, you see every single thing. And if you're a lover of skin and hair care, you're seeing the testimonials you get on my website, you buy. So when I am trending, I'm making money, I'm putting myself out there, I'm getting talked about, and it works for me.
So there's a method to this madness. Now, I want to take you up on this, the AMVCA. So this year, there were quite a lot of edgy, pushing the envelope kind of looks. But the argument, and we had that conversation here on Rubbin Minds, is that some celebrities mistake going for an awards night to going to the Met Gala. So what's your response to that? Because I'm not sure that look with the, it seemed like tires, right?
Okay, so
tell us the meaning or the symbolism of that.
Okay, for me, the AMVCA is like my Met Gala. As much as I try to follow the theme, I also want to just really stand out, because I realized that lots of celebrities who go there are either wearing like body hugging dresses, thigh-high slit, and everyone looks the same. So someone has to be the difference. And I want to, with all pleasure, be that difference. Like I said, it's my Met Gala. So that's also one of the things that I think about when I'm going to the AMVCA. And this year, I just told Tiana's Empire, I said, Auntie Toyi, I want to scatter everywhere, you know, and we came together with a different inspiration and we settled for that look. And that's what you saw that day on the internet.
Okay, so you will play by your own rules, clearly.
Yes.
Okay, now let's go to Big Brother. Now, I know prior to Big Brother, you were already in this space as a TV presenter.
Yes.
And then you go into Big Brother and you came out with, you know, a lot of fame and all. Now, Big Brother Nigeria All-Stars is happening today. Any reason why you're not part of that?
Okay, so the short version of my answer is God doesn't want me to be on Big Brother Nigeria. That's the short version. And then the longer version is that I have so much going on for me right now. As I speak to you, I just launched a new business called 30 Days Flawless Face Online Challenge, where I get to work with people to help them get their best face in 30 days. And aside the fact that I have a team that that I work with and also a team that works for me, I need to be on ground to monitor this thing because this is the first time I'm doing something like this. I spent a year and 7 months working on this project, so just abandoning my project and just going into Big Brother because it's an all-star season doesn't make sense for me. Aside that, I have my skincare.
Wait, don't you think the traffic you will generate, your fans seeing you on the big screen
I know.
For a long
that was
period?
something I considered, right? But then another thing I also considered is the fact that I was on Big Brother Nigeria over 5 years ago. You can attest to the fact that, I mean, I'm still relevant. People still talk about me, but there are some of my mates people no longer talk about. Now, I wouldn't say that this is like the negative part of being on the show, but it feels like when people talk about me, that's like the biggest thing ever. BB Nigeria, if we're Enada. Nobody ever talks about the businesswoman that I am, the multiple award-winning businesswoman that I've become, my skincare and my hair care brand that I've spent so much energy building all these years. And I want people to actually take me serious as a businesswoman. I feel like if I get on the show, it will probably be another 5 years or more of people just looking at me and not really looking at me as a BB Nigeria person, not really taking me seriously as the businesswoman that I am becoming and intend to keep, you know, being right.
But don't you want to do more in entertainment, like acting, presenting, emceeing shows, and doesn't BB help that aspect of your business?
I feel like if you did it once and you did it well, you don't really need to go back again to do it. That's just how I feel. If you did it once and you did it well, I don't think you need to do it a second time. And when it comes to entertainment, I definitely have plans to produce a feature film next year by the grace of God. You know, I'm currently working on my budget and my story and all that. Before BB Nigeria, I was already producing, just like you rightly mentioned. I had a short film that won several awards. Aside the fact that I was acting in other people's movies, I had my short film that I produced as well. And since then, I haven't actually done any major producing when it comes to film and television. Next year, I intend to do that. So this year, I'm just putting out these businesses, these projects that I've been working on. I was also going to mention that from October this year, my skincare course will be, I don't know if you know, but I'm actually a professionally trained cosmetic formulator. I train with a school in London, an online school. And since I have been making my own product, solving skin issues for women and men across the globe, lots of people have indicated interest in learning. And it's something that I know I can do. And I need time to actually create a course I can be proud of and put it out there and say, pay me 2M and people will pay and they know they get value for money. Going on BB Nigeria All-Stars wouldn't give me that time because there's something people don't realize. It's not just about the fame. It's also like the mental state you are in when you get out. By the time I get in the house, I know I'm definitely not going to win. I know that's for sure. I'm going to come out and try to like adjust to whatever extra attention I'm getting, whatever new hate I'll be getting from a new fan base. And all this time, the businesses that I've been working on for years are just sitting there. Only God knows how long it will take me to reboot my mental state. But by that time, it might actually be a bit late for me, you know? So I feel like for my life, I have a plan and I know where I am going, regardless of how enticing it is to go back on the screen, you know, a second time for the All-Star. I like where I'm at in my life, and I just want to keep pursuing my goal of being this successful, multiple award-winning businesswoman.
Oh, well done.
Right.
But for the All-Stars, do you have any favorites that you like to see on screen? Okay. Will you be watching it? Who will you be rooting for? Who are your faves?
Okay, so far I can't actually say the people who are going to be on the show because they haven't actually premiered it yet.
You have a premonition. Are there people you expect? We also know that there's certain people that are going to be there. People that will be there.
I know some people, but I can't mention their names. About watching it, I actually don't watch BB in Nigeria. Before I got on the show, I wasn't watching it. After I got out, I didn't even watch my own set. So I don't even know most of these BB in Nigeria people, only the ones who are really popular, like in the news. So a BB in Nigeria person could sit here and I wouldn't even know that he or she was on BB.
Don't you guys have like a big WhatsApp group that you all join?
I know for my season we had a group, but I took myself out because it was becoming toxic. I don't know about other groups. So there's not like this giant group where all the seasons are, you know.
Do you attend maybe events?
I only go out for the events that add value to my life and money to my pocket. When you see me at events, like I said, it costs me millions. So imagine if I have to attend every single event I am invited to. So what I do is, if I'm not getting paid for this event, I'm looking at the value that it's going to add to my brand and my business. And if it's something that has that much value, you will see me there. So that's why I saw them attend events, because I mean, like, most of these events are not going to add value to myself. So, but going back to who I intend to support on Big Brother, I know some people that I like are going to be there. And once they announce them, I'll probably post them on my story and ask my fans to vote for them, but I'm not going to be watching it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you won't be watching a show that you'd say really helped to push you in front of Nigerians and even some of the international attention that you've received.
I know. I don't know if it's just me, but I really don't like paying so much attention to people's business because, yes, I was on the show. It was actually God who took me there. I remember my friend called me up. She had just gone for her own audition. It was the last day of the audition, the next day. And she was like, Ifu, you don't go BB Nigeria audition? I was like, no, I haven't. Did it run it to him? She said, I go now, people go like you. You know, so you did Chris. And I was really broke, you know, at that point in my life. And I told her, look, Stacey, I don't even get Shimba to take come off for her. She's like, you know what? Send me your distance. I could send you, you know, she sent me 10K. And at that point, I was seriously craving pizza and a soft drink. And I almost went to the pizza house to buy pizza with that money. But then someone was like, just go. I never auditioned before. I didn't know what to expect. I went there. One thing led to another. I got on the show, and that was it for me. So bringing it back to whether I watched the show or not, I was on the show without having knowledge of what the show would look like. And I came out and I didn't watch because it's not just my lifestyle to want to pay attention to people. I felt like God took me there. He used that to announce me to the world. And that's just me. I poke my nose where my business is. Even when you look at me on Instagram, you notice I follow just 82 people. There are some people like me who follow thousands of people or hundreds of people on Instagram, but that just goes to show you that this person just has space, and I just like to mind my business, that's it. But I would definitely be looking out for my people in the news. I'll definitely be looking at some BB Nigeria blogs to see what my people will be doing. And when it's time to vote, I'll definitely, you know, send out cash out there to the fan groups so that they can vote for my faves.
So now let's look at, say, some of the investments you've made in putting yourself out there. I remember a particular instance where you were flooding the internet with pictures from a trip to the Maldives, and people were almost like, oh, is this thing going to end and everything? And you're like, look, you spent thousands of dollars on it and you're going to continue to put it out there.
Yeah.
How do you deal with such kind of unsavory remarks or hate mail or just all that negativity that sometimes comes with the fame?
Yeah, before now, I would clap back and reply, but then I realized that it was beginning to give me this reputation of an aggressive person. So people will look at my response and not what actually triggered it, right? So I decided that for the sake of my sanity, I would just block and delete the comment. And as far as going on vacation is concerned, I love to enjoy myself. I work hard for my money. I love the best things in life. So you would never see me at a resort that's like 2 or 3 star. I would stay at the best resort because I want to get the best experience. And I would pay a videographer, a photographer to capture the moment. I don't know if you really look at my post. I was in Zanzibar earlier this year and I had like my drone shots and everything. People actually my fans look forward to it whenever I travel. That's just how I like to document my life for my own enjoyment and for the enjoyment of anybody who loves, that kind of lifestyle. It is my money that I'm spending and I work hard for it. If you feel some type of way about it, go make your money and, travel and document it the way you please. But this is my page. I'm going to do what I like.
Now, following this conversation, you keep mentioning God. You said it's God who led you into BB House. It's God who said you shouldn't go back into the BB House. It's God, it's God, it's God. So are you born again and what's your spiritual life like? What's spirituality to you?
Yes, I am born again. I'm actually born again.
Spirit-filled, tongue-speaking, devil-chasing.
Yes, I am spirit-filled, but I'm not the sort of person who has to attend the church every single Sunday or every single day. I have a personal relationship with God, and I feel like that is more important. I have days that I would fast and pray, not because my pastor said I should, but because I feel like it brings me... As a matter of fact, I have a dedicated day in the week that I actually fast and pray, you know, to God, because I feel like it brings me closer to God. I have every single morning, I wake up, I pray, I read my devotionals and all that. So yeah, I have a relationship with God and I am born again. I put out my birthday pictures today and I wrote about officially announcing that I am now born again. And I think at the bottom of the caption, I wrote that people, before they actually bash me for my choice of, you know, photo shoot, people need to understand that there's a message behind the way that I decide to portray myself today. And what is that message? When you look at the photo, you see that there's a bit of skin, right? Now, the skin you see represents my life, my past life as a sinner. It also represents those people who have lost their ways, people who were, you know, the group of people that Christ actually came to die for, because, you know, Christ came for the sinners, those who have lost their ways, not those who are actually saved. And our jobs as Christians is to show them love and gently nudge them to the path of Christ. But one thing I realized is that a lot of Christians just throw insults at you. Look at Rahab, for instance. She was, you know what I mean in the Bible. She was a streetwise call girl. I don't know if I'm allowed to use the P.
A domestic sex worker.
Yeah, she was that in the Bible. But that was who God decided to use to help the Israelites. Now, if it was in our time, I'm sure social media people would say, oh, those Israelites, they don't go carry a show, they don't collect one or two.
So we see that there's a lot of hypocrisy.
Exactly.
And
So
I want to ask you, I mean, as you're revealing new things, like you're born again, your relationship with God, what about your love life? Are we expecting a Mr. Enada? Are we expecting wedding bells soon? Is there someone special there? Or you're single and searching?
Okay, so as far as my faith in Christ is concerned, I feel like when it comes to both sexes, man and woman, marriage is what God recognizes, not necessarily dating, you know, because dating could lead to sin, if you know what I mean. So as far as marriage is concerned, I'm single. I'm not married. This is just a fashion ring.
But is there somebody that you're courting in a Christian way?
No, I'm not currently courting anyone. There's definitely someone trying to get back into my life. There are definitely several men out there trying to get into my life. I am so not interested in most of these men. But as far as being married or courting or being engaged is concerned, I am absolutely single and actually quite happy with that, because I feel like...
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're single and happy with that. Well, we wish you all the best with all your endeavors.
Thank you so much.
And a happy, happy birthday from all of us at Rubbin Minds.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Enada. Thank you for tuning in to Rubbin Minds. My name is Isabella Adediji. Do have a good afternoon. Goodbye.